I kind of briefly mentioned that when I was talking about checklist, but the next thing that I recommend is for you to chunk it down, meaning that we tend to do our tendency is to say, do this. Like, well, I'm going to launch a new site. I gotta say, launch a new site doesn't seem like a lot, but then just like everything, God's in the detail. You zoom in on the project, right? So kind of like, think Google Earth. You look at the Earth, it's like this little ball, and then you just start zooming in. You see all the roads, you'll see all the lakes, you see all the people, all the cars. There's a lot of detail. So when we want to build a website and we say, I'm going to build a site, we get involved and then we get overwhelmed very fast, right? We kind of start realizing, oh, there's a lot of work here actually, and we kind of abandon it. So for this not to happen, when you say, I'm going to build a site, the first thing you need to do is you need to actually sit down and chunk it down into digestible action steps or digestible goals in the process of site building. Meaning, let's say I'm going to build a sniper site for a gold company, gold upgrade company, right? So the first thing I'll need to do probably is do some keyword research and figure out what are the keywords that I'm going to be focused on. The second thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy a domain name that probably keyword in the domain name. The third thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably get hosting. Then I'm gonna install WordPress. Then I'm going to install WordPress theme and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna basically list out all the steps or all the goals or checkpoints, if you will, on my way to achieving that task. Now, then what I'll do, I'll go back to the top of the list, and for each one of the checkpoints, I'll do a sub checklist of the steps I'll need to take. And as I take these steps, once I've started on the project, as I take these steps, I'm going to cross them off. Now, what that's going to happen is if I have the discipline to actually contain myself, not skip anything, and take these tiny little steps bit by bit, day by day, or week by week, within a few days, I will have basically a list of things that I need to do, a big chunk of that list already crossed out, and I didn't feel because I allowed my brain to only process one thing at a time. You see, our brains are amazing and they are like supercomputers and everything. There's like millions and millions and billions of neurons. The problem is they're like a waterfall, basically. Our thoughts are like a waterfall where it kind of has to go in a sequential way, meaning that you can't be doing multiple things at once and expect your brain to perform. You actually have to go and you have to do one thing after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. That's the only way the brain keeps functioning in the long term and offers you the ability to just stay in a productive state and be sane too. If you try to do more than two things at once, it's just going to drive you nuts. So what you do is you break your project into a bunch of sequential steps and then you follow those steps in sequence, kind of hopping from one checkpoint to the next. And that's how you go and take a big project and achieve it in a very short span of time. The reason I think most people don't achieve what they set out to achieve is just because they don't know how to plan and they're not disciplined enough to chunk it down. So they get involved. They're like, oh, yeah, that's easy. But then once they zoom in on the project, realize there's so much to do and they try to do everything at once, but they just burn really, really fast.